Howdy. Cool. Don't think I want too many of them. So tonight's a request night. She who shall be obeyed, I shouldn't say observed then, said, how about doing American? And I said, well, what am I doing for American? There's like burgers and things like that. I mean, I can find things like Mexican and stuff like that. We've done that before, haven't we? But I said, how about then? I said, because she had burgers, let's do burgers, something simple. I said, we've done burgers, done inside out cheeseburgers, didn't we? I said, we'll make some hot dogs. Okay, so tonight we're going to make some hot dogs. Now really, when we make hot dogs, or any kind of sausages, you're meant to sort of leave them sort of 12, 24 hours. Obviously we're going to make them and eat them. Well, make them, cook them and eat them. So, cheers. Welcome to the prairie, or range, or wherever you want. Well, not the range. Shouldn't be open, should they? Although they've been sneaky. They put freezers in and claim this essential food. So, let's get cracking on. So, earlier today, got the old campfire going, got the old Dutch oven on it, and baked me some buns for hot dogs. Didn't bake me buns, well, almost did. Although, if you actually watch the video, which I haven't posted up yet, that may not be strictly the truth. Right? Bit of fake news. But you Americans, if you Americans watching this, you've been used to the last 4 years of fake news, haven't you? Anyway, also, celebration of you lot, you Yanks finally getting a president after 4 odd years. I've made some buns, we're going to make the sausages. Now, to make these sausages, make the hot dogs, you're going to want some beef, some pork fat, and then a variety of spices. Okay, some onion, and also I've got some onion which I'm going to slice up thinly, fry them up, so we'll have some fried onion with our hot dogs. Now, before we start grinding our meat, we need to make up essentially a puree of all the other stuff that's going to go in with the meat. So for that, you're going to want about a third of an onion, a couple of small cloves of garlic, an egg white, about a teaspoon of ground coriander. We've got to grind that because we ain't got any ground. I'm sure I have somewhere. A teaspoon of sweet paprika, half a teaspoon of ground mustard seed. Now I've definitely got mustard seed somewhere. Can I find them? Can I find them buggery? So they might not go in. Quarter teaspoon of dried marjoram, quarter teaspoon of ground mace, 60 ml of milk, like I said, an egg white, 1.5 teaspoons sugar, about a teaspoon or less of salt. If you don't want too salty, don't put it in. A teaspoon of pepper, and that's it. And that's all what's going to then mix with the meat. Now, some of my spices ain't ground. So I'm going to shove the coriander seeds in there. I'm going to shove the marjoram in there. Probably don't need to, but we're going to. I'm going to shove the pepper in there, give it an extra grind. I'm going to put some mace in there. That's going in. Paprika I won't bother with, and sugar and salt I won't bother with. All right. So I'm going to grind them. It makes a lot of bloody noise. So I'll catch you in a minute. Okay, so that's all ground. So I'm going to chuck that in my blender because, like I say, we're going to puree up the other ingredients. I don't know why this always is. It always sticks around the edges in there. Shouldn't really do this with this knife, but I'm doing it with a blunt edge rather than a sharp bit. Right, so get that out of the way. I'll put it down here for now. Now then, like I said, we've got paprika, in it goes. Got salt, in it goes. Sugar, in it goes. Ooh, let's have another shot of rye. Oh, this is good. Right, now, we also want to put 60 ml milk. In that goes. The onion, I'm just going to roughly chop that. in that goes. Oops, there's only a bit there. And then the garlic, again, I might just chop that a little bit. And then that goes in there. The only thing left to put in there is the egg white. So I'm just going to separate the yolk and I'll put the white in there. Right, so I've got all them ingredients in there. What we're going to do now, puree it. Okay, so just get the lid on there. I mean, there's not an awful lot in here. And although this ain't the best thing to puree in it because the blade's a bit high, the food processor, they'd be lost in it. Right. So it's all stuck up out in there now. And then we mix. Let's give it flicks. I don't know if I'd actually call it a puree. Okay, it's more of a liquid, isn't it? So let's just put that over there. So now it's time to prepare the meat. Okay, so the quantities we're making require 453 grams of lean pork. Okay, 340 grams of lean beef and about 114 grams of pork fat. Now it's really difficult to buy pork fat, so I tried to buy, or rather trying to get the missus to buy, I said try not to buy lean pork because we'll cut the fat off and then I can use some of that fat for the fat. So they said pork belly slices, which got a little bit of fat on it but not an awful lot, and they were lean. So I haven't got the full amount of fat, so I made that up with a bit more pork and a bit more beef. Right? So what we can do first off is we're going to grind them. Okay, we're not too worried about the order it goes through because we're going to be putting it back in there, mixing it with that puree stuff, and then feeding it back through anyway. All right. So got my meat grinder all set up. It's got a fairly fine grind in there. Now, ideally, the trouble is I burned the motor out on this thing because it was only quite cheap. You want to almost like freeze your meat and your fat. Grind's better. But I think this might burn the motor out. So, there's my meat ready to go in. Got my little pusher. So let's get grinding. Okay, so let's start putting it through. Like I said, this is a bit of a cheap machine from Amazon. Now, dare I say, I've not had any problems with this. We haven't used it an awful lot. But a lot of people slated it, said how crap it was, how it fell apart, didn't work. Probably won't work now, probably halfway through doing sausages, it won't work. So, I think one of the problems is people say the motor burns out. I think it's because, basically, they turn the bloody thing on and sort of like leave it running for God knows how long. And so, you know, I do. So I've just turned it off, so the beef's coming through, the fat's coming through, and then we're just going to put up the pork. Like I say, it's all going to get mixed and it's all going to have another grind. Alright, so still a bit more left there. So let me just get going with that one. Okay, so that's all the meat through. Okay, I've got a little bit that's stuck in the end there, it always does. And I've put on the nozzle ready for me casings. So what we're going to do with that is we're going to take this and we're going to chuck that into there. Okay. Now, what we now need to do is get our hands in there and get mixing all that prime rump, prime pork, and all the other stuff. Okay, so I'm going to give this a good old mixing through. Okay, so it looks all nice and even. And then I'll show you what we do with the casings. Okay, so I've got collagen sausage casings. simply because if you buy the intestines, you know, the sheep's guts or whatever, they've got limited shelf life, very limited. Whereas these last for ages. Okay, so according to the packet, they don't need salting. They do, right? So takes me back to being on the range then. Kidnapped my lasso. So I pulled off a fair bunch. A fair length, I pulled a fair length off. Right, so we'll just keep that just because we mark on some more. And then like I said, I'm just going to put that in there. I know it don't look like it's going to go in there, as soon as it gets wet that'll go in there. Now ideally your meat mixture should go in the fridge at least, if not freezer, for about half hour. Okay, but I can't put it in my fridge. I can take everything out to put it in there, but then I've got nowhere to put everything I'll take out. So I'm just going to put some water in there and leave it to soak for a bit. And where's it gone? Better have another shot of rye. Okay, so find the end and slip it over the nozzle. This bit is the worst bit. Trying to get that bugger to open up to go over that, pain in the ass, and then it causes it first time. So just feed it on. Now there is an argument that giving it a little coating of vegetable oil makes them a little bit more shiny, right? This is a thin nozzle, okay, but it's not very slippery, so perhaps a little bit of oil might have helped. So it's just a matter of feeding all this on, okay, much as you can get onto the nozzle. So let me carry on with my casings. Okay, so I've got the casings on there. So I've got a tray to put the sausages as they come out. Now we don't want any air in there, and so it's a matter of feeding it and trying not to get air in there. Okay, it's not too bad because you can just twist it off at that point, but we don't twist them off as we do them. Okay, we feed them all out and then afterwards we twist them. All right, so it's a matter, start off chucking a load of meat up there, getting it all primed in there. Let the meat start coming out. Once it's come out, we'll pull a bit of casing off just so that we can actually have a bit we can tie off if you like, but we don't want to tie it off yet, otherwise there'll be a load of air in there. Okay, so I've run it, the meat's just coming out, so at this point I'm just going to take off a bit, tie a knot in the end, okay, and I want to try and get that knot close up to the meat, okay, trim all the edge bits off afterwards. Now it's a little bit tricky because we've got, like I said, keep feeding the meat, we don't want any air bubbles getting in there, and at the same time gradually letting the casing fill and come out. So it's noisy, but I'll show you for a bit. Okay, and like I say, then it's just a matter of collecting it. Let's go back in here, collecting it, and we roll about doing the links later. So here we go. So you want to keep a little bit of resistance on the casing, otherwise it'll just come off and it'll only be half full, okay? So I'm just going to fill this casing. So I had a couple of little mishaps. So not long after I left you, I suddenly thought, what the bloody hell's going on with the shape of that sausage? That dog. And the casing split and it just kept running along. So I had to clear all that out, put all the meat back in, and then I set it going again, and bugger me, did it again. But now we've got off a fair bit here, okay? So there's me short stretch that I had to begin with. Now we're going to twist these into links. Hope the bastard don't tear on me, okay? And we also need to get rid of these air bubbles. I don't know whether you can see them, but there's air bubbles in there, Okay, we got our sausage pricker for that. Now, by the way, I haven't got dirty hands and dirty fingernails. I was baking earlier and used quite a lot of food colouring and got it all over my hands. So, what we do is we sort of decide how big we want our dogs. So I'm going to split that one into 3. Now, where you decide to split, you actually twist alternately. Right? So you twist that way, you twist that one the other way. Alright? The buggers will try and untwist. Okay? So, let's do that one about there. This isn't quite so well packed this end because this was the final bit. Do another one there. Oops, twisted the other way. Ah, I see. Missy's has just come downstairs. Dressed American diner style. To a not diner style, or Western. Okay. So, and she's watching some bloody soppy film. So, oh, see, always happens. So that one's burst. So we got some sausage meat there. Okay, I'll just get rid of that. So, let me just wash my hands a minute. I have to say this is the second pack of these collagen skins I bought. First pack, no problem whatsoever. People on Amazon were saying, no bloody go, they split the time. And I thought, they bloody don't. They're magic. But unfortunately, these are split, so I'm hoping they don't split when we cook. So, anyway, all we need now is our sausage pricker. And what we do is we go along the sausage, and anywhere there's an air bubble, we just prick the casing. Okay, because otherwise, if we don't get that air out, when we cook it, it's going to potentially burst. So actually, that's not too bad, that one. There's one there. Whoops. So just a matter of checking all your sausages, prick them wherever there's an air bubble. There's another one. And there's one. And then we'll put these in the fridge, ready to chill. Okay, and we'll get on with the onions. Then one of the other bastards split on me. So I've got 4 sausages ready to go. I've got some sausage meat, make some patties. Okay, and after all that, need a shot of the rye again. Oh, I made half of that time. So I've got some oil on the go. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to thinly slice an onion. And like I said, we're just going to have this obviously with ketchup, some mustard, and fried onion. Okay. So, try to take your fingers off. So I'm going to get that oil up to temperature. I've stripped down the machine because it's probably not good leaving the meat in there overnight. Don't put that, if you've got that machine, don't put it in the dishwasher. Well, don't put the bloody motor in it, but don't put parts in it because it's not proper staying still. Now, that was something else people moaned about. It says don't put it in the dishwasher. And people go, well, it comes out rusty when I put it in the dishwasher. Well, that's why you don't put it in the dishwasher, isn't it? So, get my oil up temperature, start frying my onions, get them fried. Then we'll move on to do the patties and the dogs. And then we might eat by 8. So my onions are cooking. I'll put my patties in there. They've done one side, just flip my patties, my sausage patties. Might as well eat that meat. Can't do much else with it. So in a bit, when there's a bit more room, when them patties are done, we'll put the sausages in. Okay, I've cut my buns. Got myself another beer. Topped up my rye. We're getting there, partner, we're getting there. Right, well, I've moved on the back burner because it's bigger and the sausage is still cooking. Oh, one's just split. But I thought it's a bit difficult to sort of taste the old sausage hot dog for you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to taste the patty. So, fresh out of the pan. got some texture to it. It's obviously not as fine grained as like a Frankfurter, but they wouldn't tend to do that. You get a hint of some of them spices in there. Last time I made, normally when I make sausages, we put a bit of chili powder or something like that in it, and you can taste that. Obviously you still have it in it, but only mine. Now you get a bit of moisture out, not so much because of the meat, like when you buy your bacon and that from the supermarket, you put a bloody water in it. But remember, you have that milk in it and stuff like that. So that's just some of the moisture coming out, obviously some of the fat. But they're not quite cooked through yet. Depends whether you like your sausages browned or not. So, I'll show you what it looks like, but that was a taste test. Very nice. So, there we have our hot dogs with onion, bit of sausage patty, and a rye to celebrate. Cheers, partners.